Welcome back. Welcome back to From the Shed and welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone is doing well, man. We're doing well as Chelsea fans. We're doing very well. We're doing very, very well. If you're new to the channel, as always, please make sure you subscribe. You hit that notification bell to make sure you don't miss any videos. You don't miss any podcast episodes. You don't miss anything from our channels. If you're on Instagram, Twitter, all of that stuff, the Linktree link is in the description for our social accounts. So make sure you head over there straight after. We've done a mini documentary series as well. Very recently, we looked at players from 1 to 31, Chelsea, ex-Chelsea players. We spoke about their time at Chelsea, so make sure you check that out. It's in a separate playlist on our YouTube channel as well. So make sure you do all of those things. But there's been a lot of activity, as always, at Chelsea. Some good, some bad. Some TBCs, but we're going to get into it straight away. We're going to go to the first bit of news. Can I call this news? I don't know. Can I call it news? Am I allowed to call this news? I think I can. I think I can call this news. Estevao arrives at Chelsea. We welcome Estevao to Chelsea, the Brazilian international who last year agreed to a deal to join from Palmeiras, has arrived at Cobham. Now, if you're very sneaky and you're on our socials or you're on other people's or on the Chelsea socials, you'll notice that Estevao was already there today. You already knew he was there. This is not a surprise sign, and we knew he was going to be there. But this is good news. This is good news. This is a player that, again, 14 months in the making. 14 months ago, we confirmed that Estevao was going to be joining us as the world champions. He's had his 18th birthday, 5 senior caps for Brazil. He's a good player. And he scored against us in the Club World Cup. We have to remember that as well. He scored a very good goal. I'm trying to think how many games. I think he played, 83 times he played for the first team appearances for Palmeiras. Won 5 caps. He's thought of as one of the best players to come out of Brazilian football in recent times, alongside obviously Rodrigo, Neymar, Vinicius Jr., just to name a few of them. Pato as well. There's been so many Brazilians that have come out. My only worry about this deal is he's young. And if you've been watching the live streams over the last 2 or 3 days, you'll know what I'm about to say. We have a habit of selling our talent at the wrong time. And that's the worry for me. If we sell him, then I'll worry about that. In a couple of months, 18 months, 12 months, 18 months, I don't want to see him gone. I want him to stay at the club. I want him to still be here as a Chelsea player. I think he's got if you don't even have to watch Brazilian football to know that he's a good player. I'm not one of these players that normally goes on highlight clips and YouTube clips, but watching him in the Club World Cup for the first time, really sort of watching him, you could tell that he was a very, very good player, a very good player. And a lot of people are saying about Rio and Ganoa going and all the rest of it. I get it. He's a good player too. But I think we've got another gem in Estevao coming to the club as well. So he's already done his first interview, which is good. I mean, I know he did a little video. If you don't know if you guys got to see that on the Chelsea Twitter account, the Chelsea social accounts, and he's already starting to learn English. This is a player that 2-3 months ago had no word of English, so he's going to find that difficult. The good thing I think about this deal as well is that his family are with him. All his family have come over. He's not here on his own. He's not isolated. He's got his family. He's got his surroundings around him, which I think coming to a whole new country, learning a new language, a new style, a new culture, it's going to be a big thing for him. It's a massive change from growing up as a Brazilian young child to then coming over the other side of the world, playing football in a totally different league for arguably one of the best teams in recent times in English football. It's a massive step up for him. But he's come out here, he said in his thing, I'm a child of God, a calm boy. In my free time, I love playing video games. I like to spend time with my family as well. He sounds like what we need at this club. I'm excited by this one. He also, I don't know if he says it in here, but he spoke to Thiago Silva very, very detailed conversations with Thiago Silva. He said here, my inspirations is my father, my dad. He was always with me and he's always with me now. We've always trained together and had the dream of playing and getting into professional football, a professional team, of playing in Europe. He says that he's come here to England with my family. They're everything to me. For them to be here means everything. So yeah, he's speaking in Portuguese, but he's had some English lessons back in Brazil. So that's good. But like I said the other day, that's not the be all and end all. I mean, you look at our team now. I said it the other day, Cole Palmer, Reece James. We obviously had Keenan Dewsbury Hall there. We've obviously got youngsters in the team, but many of our team will speak Portuguese, will speak Spanish. We got a couple of French guys in there as well. So it's not like you're not coming into the 1972 Chelsea squad with one or two flipping the foreign play. All our players are pretty much from dispersed all around the world. So I don't think he's coming into a team that's, he's going to struggle to learn a language. It's a universal language football, like I said the other day. But yeah, he definitely spoke to Thiago Silva, which I think is a big thing. Says here though, look, he's so obviously he grew up there. He grew up in Brazil, so he's played for a lot of teams. Got his Brazilian debut after his 17th birthday. He scored 27 goals and recorded 15 assists in 83 appearances for Palmeiras. And again, of course, one of those strikes coming against Chelsea. Versatile forward, capable of playing wide or centrally. Estevao lists dribbling, passing, and finishing as his strongest attributes and names Lionel Messi and fellow Brazilian Neymar as the two players who inspired him to grow up as he was growing up. He's also gone on to say that Eden Hazard is one that he watched most at Chelsea. He knows there's a couple, as I said, Thiago Silva, David Luiz Ramirez, Oscar Willian ahead of him in terms of the Brazilians. And then, like I said before, he says here, as after I signed for Chelsea, and in the final game of 2024, I played against Thiago Silva. He came and talked to me. He said I was going to love the club, which has an incredible structure and is an incredible club. And now I can see how amazing this club is. So it speaks volumes when the likes of Thiago Silva, even now, how many years has he been gone? Almost 2 seasons now, and he's gone. And he will be back. I guarantee you something. Thiago Silva will be back at our club in a coaching capacity, 100%. He'll be back. Yeah, big up yourself, CFC Stephen in the chat. Yeah, I think Thiago Silva comes back, but I'm excited for this signing. As long as we keep Estevao Willian, I think we've signed ourselves a really, really good player. I went through the squad depth yesterday in terms of the wide areas, in terms of, where Pedro Neto will play Cole Palmer. Xavi Simons, if we get him, that deal's gone a bit quiet. I don't know what's going on there, but something seems to be happening. So the Xavi Simons deal, if that happens, then where does Estevao Willian fit into that team? Where does Jamie Gittins fit into the team? If we do sign Garnacho, where does he fit into the team? So I don't want Estevao Willian to come into this team and he's not given the opportunities. We've seen that with Mudryk. We've seen it with Nkunku. This is a promising 18-year-old player. That is a brilliant player, very skillful, knows where the back of the net is, can pick out a really decent pass. This is a player that you want to give to opportunities to. So all I'm saying is someone might have to drop out the food chain here, and I don't know who it is, but it will be criminal. It'll be criminal if we let this player come into the club, we give him 1 or 2 games, we send him out on loan, and we sell him in 18 months. It'll be criminal. It'll be up there with Jamal Musiala. It'll be up there. I'm gonna hang everything. I'm gonna bet everything on it. If we let him go in 18 months, we will regret it completely, because okay, you can get a really bad Brazilian player, but when you see there's hype around the player in Brazil and the Brazilians are hyping him up, and players are hyping him up. And you watch him with your own eyes, and the eye test never fails, and you can see that he's a good player. You got to give him an opportunity. And I'm not talking Carabao Cup, FA Cup against Shrewsbury. I'm talking against Man City, against Liverpool, against United, against Arsenal. The top teams, he's got to be in them games. Because that's the only reason why you want to bring a player like that in, is because they are good enough to play. There hasn't been any talk from what I'm aware of that we're going to loan him out anywhere. And Strasbourg have used it. They're free loan players from our club, so he's not going there. I'd hate to see him in another Premier League team anyway. I'd hate to see that. This is a player that we need to utilize. We need to utilize him 100%. I agree with you, Stephen, we have to play him. Dropping by to hit the like button, up the Chels. Thank you very much, Blue Lounge. Appreciate that. Yeah, let me know what you think in the chat. Let me know. Do you think Estevao Willian should be playing next season or this season? It's this season now. It's next week. Should he be playing for Chelsea this season? And if he does, who is he taking out the team? Who does Esteban Willian top trump to get into our starting 11? Because I went through it yesterday. I had Andre Santos with Caicedo in the 2. I had Enzo in the 10. I had Palmer on the right. I had Neto on the left. And of course, he doesn't need to play every single game, but you want to see something from him. You want to see that he's going to be able to give you options off the bench and start in games. So for me, he has to start games. It'd be criminal. I'm worried I'm worried he ends up in a Carney Chukwemeka, Leslie Okunchukwu, Noni Madweki environment where we're selling them and we sell them to a rival. I have to look at the owners a bit differently if that happens. I really do. A lot of press pictures came out today. Obviously, the team were back in training yesterday. They didn't really show Esteban Willian yesterday, but they did today. They made up for that today, 100%. But let's get into some more news. Positive news. Very, very, very positive news, because as you can see on our Twitter channel here, West Ham have entered the race to sign Raheem Sterling. Fulham and Crystal Palace are among other Premier League teams with an interest in the ex-England international, as well as Juventus. I'm going to put it out there about Raheem Sterling. You're going to have to drop them wages, buddy. You're going to have to drop them wages quick. I don't think any club realistically will sign Raheem Sterling unless he decides to take a pay cut. I agree as well. I think he breaks through. I think I'd be surprised if he doesn't, Esteban Willian. I think he breaks through. I think whoever he outmuscles to get into the starting 11, I still think it's a good option for Maresca to have. The depth and quality is something we've been screaming about as Chelsea fans. So I think Esteban Willian does get into our starting 11. Like I said, not week in, week out, but that's why you have players that you can rotate, you can swap around, and you can utilize, you can bring into games to affect the game as well. So I think he gets in. But Raheem Sterling, I think 100%, he has to drop his wages. I'd be surprised if he wants to go and play for Graham Potter as well. I'm trying to cast my mind back. Was Graham Potter good to Raheem Sterling at Chelsea? Did he play him often? I can't really remember. This is almost the last payday for Raheem Sterling. Now, if you remember when he was at City, the reason why the move happened at Chelsea was because he wanted to move back to London. He wanted to be closer to his family and all the rest of it. He wanted to move away from Cheshire. So I think it is going to be a club. I can't see Juventus getting him. I can't see. I can't see. All the other clubs are London, aren't they? Crystal Palace and Fulham. So he's going to be one of those clubs. The only thing is, let's just double check. Let's find out how much he's on. I know it's not all about wages, but I can't see West Ham, Fulham, or Crystal Palace. Let's see how much he's on. I'm pretty sure he's on a good like 300 grand a week, isn't he? I'm sure he's on good money. Very good money. Let's have a look. Yeah. Yeah. Base salary is £325,000 a week. Oh my God. We got to get rid of him. Can't believe that. I can't believe that. 325 grand a week. We got to get rid of him. We can't have Sterling on the books. £325,000 a week. Wow. CFC Gamer saying starting 11 eventually will be Sanchez, Cucurella, Fofana, Colwell, James, Caicedo, Enzo, Fernandez, Palmer, Estevao, Neto, João Pedro. It's a fair shout. It's a fair shout. It's a fair shout. I kind of went for something similar yesterday. I did have Fofana in there. I think it'd be a shame to lose Tosin. I think Tosin's a good player for us. I think he's come on leaps and bounds. He's a free transfer, but he's come on. He's done what he needed to do. He shows experience as well, calmness, quality in the back. Then Andre Santos, another player that has to be starting in our starting 11. Interesting. I agree with it to an extent, but yeah, Sterling is gone. I agree. 300. I'm literally speechless. £325,000 a week for Raheem Sterling. He has to go. He has to go. He has to go. He has to come off the books. I'm sorry. I can't see West Ham paying that a week. I can't see Fulham paying that. That must be at least at least 3 or 4 players' wages at Fulham. And Crystal Palace, I tell you something, if Eze does go to Arsenal, I think they'll push for Sterling, but I generally can't see them paying him that much. So he'll take a wage cut, I think. I think if he really wants to carry on playing football, because he didn't really play that much for Arsenal, I'm going to go out there and say he probably played no more than 15 games for Arsenal last season. I might be wrong, but if he did, then he did. But he didn't impact Arsenal season at all. And I think maybe we said this when he signed for Chelsea, that it was probably not the best deal for him to come to Chelsea. We were kind of getting him at the back end of his career. If you remember as well, there was a lot of Man City fans. I remember them saying to us that if Sterling was good enough, Pep wouldn't be getting rid of him. Cole Palmer was the anomaly when he came to that. When Cole Palmer left Man City, he didn't want to go on on a permanent. He wanted to go on a loan. And Pep said, no, you're going on a permanent, because he just didn't rate him that much. Sterling, Pep had seen enough to realize that actually we don't need you anymore. You're surplus. So, and did he affect? Has Sterling affected our club? Did he do enough for us? Has he done enough? Should he be on 325 grand a week? I think, if I remember as well correctly, I think him and Cucurella were one of the 2 first Todd Boehly, the Blue Co signings. And at that point as well, the wage cap, this sort of lovely wage cap that we've got in now, the wage structure that we currently have at Chelsea wasn't in. So we were going to offer the likes of Rafinha, if you remember, stupid money a week, which I wouldn't be against because he's actually been playing very well. But Sterling, no wonder he packed his bags. £325,000 a week, English pounds. Oh my goodness. Enzo, Caicedo, Palmer, the main midfielders. However, Maresca will out Palmer right wing for some games and then put Lavia or Santos in the midfield with Enzo and Caicedo. I'm not against that. I think that's a really good shout. And I think, again, it shows fluidity. It shows that there's versatility in the team. So I'm not against that at all. I think I think this season, I said yesterday, I'm going to say it again, I think this is a big season for Cole Palmer. We saw the best of Cole Palmer under Pochettino and some parts of Maresca, but we've also seen parts where you'd expect him to score the goals that he's getting. He's creating these lovely chances, but he's not taking the goals. And I think if that keeps happening for Palmer this season, it isn't like we don't have players now that can just step up and come in and replace him. No one's untouchable in any squad, and especially Chelsea squad. You've seen how quick Keenan Dewsbury Hall's out the door. Noni Madueke's out the door. Nicolas Jackson, we're going to talk about him in a minute, he's potentially out the door. So it's not like he's not the golden boy. He's not the poster boy of Chelsea anymore. There's a new kid in town, and he's called Estevao Willian. He's a new boy. He's the poster boy now. Appreciate that as well. The Blue Lounge, thank you very much for subscribing. Appreciate it 100%. Like I said, we're trying to get this channel up and running again. Regular streams, regular live streams, couple of match watch-alongs, all the rest of it. We've got the podcast as well that we do with the other Theo when he's which we do every week. So yeah, we're definitely going to be doing a lot more on this channel. The squad depth and quality is crazy. So excited. I am. I'm trying not to get excited, but I am getting excited. The only key area, there's two things. Key area that we haven't really resolved, and I read a couple of reports today that we're not even going to cover this area in the transfer market, is the goalkeeper, which I've spoke about a lot. Sanchez and Jurgensen, they're just not champions. They're not going to win your championships. They're not going to win you the Champions League. They're not good enough. You know, you need a really good goal scorer, but you need a solid goalkeeper. And the difference between the likes of Sanchez and Alisson is night and day. And that's why Liverpool go on to win leagues. And, you know, City under Edison have gone on to win 4 in a row because they've had a really solid goalkeeper. They've had really good defenders to an extent, but your goalkeeper is the one that saves you, gives you that clinical save that when it's 1-0 and you can't afford to drop points and that goalkeeper just pulls off the amazing save. That's the difference between winning the league and not winning the league sometimes. And you need that. You need someone like that in your team. So yeah, I just don't understand why we're not addressing that. The other point before I go into that comment is we've still got a lot of players to get rid of at this club. And we're doing it gradually. We're doing it with Dewsbury Hall going to Everton, Ogunchukwu, Burnley, Broya to Burnley, but there's still so many. Sterling, David Datcher Fofana, Ben Chilwell, unfortunately, is on that list. So that worries me because you don't want disgruntled players at the club. You don't want players at the club that don't want to be there or they wanted to move, but they never got it. And they're still in and amongst Cobham. What does the manager then do with those players? Do they end up being forced out? Do you start thinking about termination of contracts? And I wouldn't put it past these owners. I think they could. I think they could literally do that. They could potentially look at maybe termination of contracts. I wouldn't put it past them. They'd have to take the loss. Yeah, I think Palmer will reach a different level this season. I'm expecting 45 goals and assists. All comps. I take 35. I think 45 is. I mean, if he's hitting them levels, then yeah. If he's hitting those levels, then yeah, he's doing well. But I take 35 GA all comps. I think 20 goals in the league, couple in the Champions League, maybe 1 or 2 FA Cup. But yeah, we've got some good depth there. So it depends. Is he going to play as much as he done last season before? We don't know. Palmer will play less pressure this season, which will make him more. I agree a little bit, but I think I flip it round. I'll flip that round, and I think he'll realize that he's actually got competition in his position now. I think last season, as much as we had players that could potentially play in that 10 or they could play on the right, at the wide on the right, but I generally think with Cole Palmer, I think he kind of flourishes under the pressure a little bit. I know it sounds weird, but I think he enjoys the pressure. I think what he didn't enjoy last season was the negativity from the media, from some fans as well, probably getting on his back a little bit. I don't think he enjoys that bit because you have to remember he's a young player. He hasn't had like 5 seasons back to back at top level. When he was at City, he wasn't playing week in, week out. So the first season where we got to see the amazing Cole Palmer, this season I think was very much a anti-climax where we thought we was going to see the same Palmer. We didn't. So this is his 3rd real full season. So he's still learning. I think we've got to give him the patience and the time. If I'm honest, I think he's a good player. But I think he thrives under pressure. But I do think it's a massive season for him as well. Goalkeeper is a big issue. However, Sancho has been improving in the last few months, especially Club World Cup. So hopefully he continues to perform. Would get an upgrade on him though, for sure. And I said that yesterday as well. I've been saying it quite often now. I think Sanchez has improved. But I think I said yesterday, we should be going for that Premier League. I know that sounds a bit mad, but we should be going for the Premier League this season because we've got a good squad. We've got a good squad. Attacking wise, we look better than we did last season. Midfield looks good. I think defensively, we're okay. I think we could be better, but I think we can, like I said yesterday, Liverpool's defense Trent wasn't amazing for Liverpool last season. Neither was Conor Bradley. Tsimikas wasn't amazing. Robertson wasn't amazing. Kanate wasn't at his best. Van Dijk had his moments where he was lapses in concentration, cleaning up everyone else's mess. Alisson wasn't the greatest. So you don't have to have world beaters in every single game, but you do have to have solid defense. Goalkeeper, for me, has to be switched on all the time. Sanchez's distribution has got better, but if you notice, he's not been kicking it out, playing it out from the back. He's been going long ball. So you can't really go wrong with that. But I think in terms of his saving, his shot stopping as well has been a bit better. He done really well, as you said, in the Club World Cup. So I'm looking forward to that. I think my only worry is, again, I got a lot of worries this evening, but Donnarumma doesn't look like he's signing a deal at PSG. If I remember, I'm sure I read this morning that they only want 30 million euros for Donnarumma. Do you know, if it was me and I was Todd Bowley, Paul Winstanley and all the rest of them, I'd forget the Xavi Simons deal. I'd just forget it now. Like, the season kicks off. We've got a pre-season friendly in 2 days, 3 days, and then we've got another one on a Sunday. The season kicks off after that. If Xavi Simons is not here by Thursday, Friday at the latest, pull the plug. Do we even need him? Go and use that money. Go and get Donnarumma. That's what I would do. That's just my own personal opinion. I would go. If he's not here, because whatever's happening in that deal, and I know deals can be complicated. You know, it's not as straightforward as you ring up and pay the millions and get the player. There's loads that goes into it. But this deal has been happening since, I think, just after the Club World Cup. It intensified then. That was 3 weeks ago. Since then, we've got Joel Heto over the line. We've sold players. Dewsbury Hall's had an agreement with Everton, got his medical done all the way. This deal should not be taking this long for Xavi Simons. So whatever's happening, if it's not happening, let's just move on. Let's just move on. Because again, another thing I think this club will do, if we don't get Xavi Simons, I think we're going for Morgan Rogers. Again, I don't think we need him. We've got Garnacho waiting. He's sat there with his suitcase packed, ready. He's in all the edge, waiting to get picked up to come down the M6. So we don't need him. But Donnarumma for me would be the one I'd be spending. If we don't get any other deals done and Donnarumma is available and we bring him in and this is our squad for the season with Donnarumma, we should be winning the Premier League. I'm sorry, we should be winning it. Shameless or not, but we should be winning it. Here we go. Theo's on the live. So we'll be having our podcast talk. A lot of this, I'm sure Theo will be giving his expertise, his views on as well. Estevao, Gittins and Hato yet to be given squad numbers, expecting them to wait for more departures before they're assigned numbers. It's a very good point, because I did see a tweet, I think earlier on, that said, I wonder what Estevao's number is going to be. But surely as well, I suppose the official squad numbers haven't been registered for this season, but we've got a match on Friday. So it'd be interesting to see what numbers they get. Does Estevao get into that team? Do we get to see him in there? Hopefully we do. Looking forward to seeing Gittins and Hato as well. Play against Bayer Leverkusen on Friday. So that's going to be interesting as well. Donna's distribution is terrible. However, he is a better shot stopper than Sanchez. I agree with that 100%. I think we'll keep Robert and then get... but that worries me as well, because Mike Magnon's distribution is actually very decent, but he's not a good shot stopper. And I agree with you. Donnarumma's distribution is really horrible, but he's a good shot stopper. So if you could blend all three of those goalkeepers together, we'd have the perfect goalkeeper. But yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. Donnarumma is not the best in terms of distribution. In fact, he's probably worse than Sanchez. And look, if Sanchez hits the ground running this season and he proves that he can be a number one, then look, I'll have egg on my face. So I'll apologize, but I just don't see that happening. I think if we're going to drop points this season, it'll be defensive lapses and concentration like last season. But I do think the goalkeeper last season killed us in games, and I think he might do the same this season. Hopefully I'm wrong, but we'll see. Donnarumma is good, but a goalkeeper that is elite with his feet, example is Magnon or Ortega at Man City. I think he's been told he can leave now, can't he? Ortega, he can leave. He's been told he's no longer... Again, there's a goalkeeper there. I'm not saying he's the answer to our solutions. But he's a good goalkeeper. And again, I don't think Man City will be getting rid of him if they didn't go and get James Trafford from Burnley. Um, yeah, do more live streams when you have to do so. You have my support, my friend. Appreciate the comment. Really do. We do on the channel. We appreciate it 100%. There's a little bit more news I want to get into before we wrap up, actually. We did speak about Nicolas Jackson. So let's talk about him next, because he did come out today in The Athletic, and it said that basically Nicolas Jackson potentially, um, here we go. Yeah, so they're talking about the strikers. We know that, Gyökeres has gone to Arsenal. Sesko looks like he's going to potentially Manchester United or Newcastle, Alexander Isak, all the rest of it. But then it goes on to say about high among them is Chelsea forward Nicolas Jackson. This is David Ornstein's article from The Athletic, and it goes on to say that um, he's available. Chelsea are not pushing him out the door, but they're not against selling him either. And that's kind of where you have to read between the lines and think, well, you've got Liam Delap, you've got João Pedro, you've got Christopher Nkunku, who's still at the club. You've got Pedro Neto that has played as the number 9 before and done well. But it does say here that Stamford Bridge side are not desperate to trade the 24-year-old, especially given that they require depth ahead of the contesting Champions League football next season. But the arrival of Delap and João Pedro provides competition and puts Jackson at risk of not being the primary forward. And after scoring 30 goals across 81 games in West London, he will want to be the main man somewhere. Two things. Well, a couple of things. But first thing is, clearly, he's not going to be first choice at Chelsea. He's just not going to be first choice at Chelsea. And we know that. We got to see Nicolas Jackson now for, well, last season. Let's talk about last season. We got to see him last season. And yes, he done well. The problem I think with Nicolas Jackson is you could give him 5 shots out of 10 and he'll score the 5 shots. But ideally, he should be scoring 8, maybe 9 goals out of 10 that he creates. We were just talking about Cole Palmer's goals and assists. Just imagine how many more goals, how many more assists Cole Palmer would get if Nicolas Jackson converts some of the things that he's given to him on the plate. Again, I'm going to go back to what I said before. If you want to win the Premier League and you want to win Champions Leagues and you want to win domestic cups, you can't have strikers that are not ready or they're not doing the job. They're not hitting the money. You have to have a striker that is prolific in goal. I'm not saying that's Liam Delap. I'm not saying that's João Pedro. One thing I can say is both of those have shown me in the Club World Cup so far that they are a better fit as a number 9 than Nicolas Jackson. Now, that doesn't mean that we should rule out Nicolas Jackson's time at Chelsea, because I said for 2 seasons now, I think he should be playing off the left of the attack. I think he can hold the ball really well. He can run the channel really well, actually, as well. And he does chip in and score goals. So I'm not saying that we should. I get the point of Chelsea not wanting to just say, right, we don't want him. But you have to have. He has to know he's not going to be first choice next season. He's not going to be first choice. And he came out the other day with a very mad quote. But I read it at first and I thought, I think he's a bit of an idiot. And then I understood what he was saying. So I'm going to try and paraphrase the quote in a minute, but let me just get to some of these comments. We've offered Nico to Newcastle. It's now up to them to come in for him, but the Sesko deal to United will trigger that more, in my opinion. I agree, but I don't think we'll sell to Newcastle. I think if we sell Jackson, it's going to be abroad. It would make sense for him to go to Newcastle. I know he wants to go there. I think Nkunku was on their radar as well. I just don't think that deal will be done very easily. Although we did do the Lewis Hall deal with them recent times, so you never know. It's a domino effect with Nicolas Jackson's situation. It depends on the moves, players like Sesko and Watkins in the transfer window. 100%. I think, I mean, in the chat, what do you think? Do you think we should be selling him? Do you think he's Let's read this comment here. Jackson's issue is mentality and also finishing, which means he cannot play for Chelsea as a starter. However, as a third choice striker, he would be good. And I agree with that. And there's no shame in him being the third choice striker, because as much as so there's, again, two things. When he was out of the team, when we lost him to the suspensions, we needed him. We actually did need him because, like I said, he holds up the ball very well. He can work the channels well. He can work, he can run into space. He can break up the lines and all the rest. He can do all the things that you need him to do as a striker. He just can't score goals. It'd be like the postman delivering your letters through the window that's open every now and again, but not the actual letterbox. Like, I need you to do the job properly. I need you to put it through the letterbox every single time. That's your job as a postman, not to throw it through the window because it's open and then celebrate because you actually achieved getting it in the house. Like, no, we need you to put it through the letterbox every single time. And that's the problem with Nicolas Jackson. He just is not clinical. He's not a clinical goalkeeper, goal scorer. He just doesn't score enough goals. I know there's a lot of comparisons to when Didier Drogba first joined, and he didn't have the best start at Chelsea. But at this point in Drogba's career, when he was at Chelsea, if we're continuing with that and we're talking about, the trajectory that he should be on, he's nowhere near Drogba's level now. Drogba would be here and he would be here still, like trickling down here. So we were comparing him to Drogba, which is great, but he hasn't hit the same levels as Drogba, and that's the problem. That's the problem for me. I just don't see, I just don't see how he fits into our squad next season. The only saving grace for him is that Mark Gui's gone to Sunderland on loan. So he could be third choice. We might need him. You don't want to go into the season with just two strikers. Champions League football, as I said, Premier League as well. So maybe you do need to keep him. Yeah, this is the problem. I think so. The quote that he said was, he has no competition. He said the other day, I think he was asked, I don't know if it was through the Chelsea official website, but he said he doesn't have competition. And, but then he did go on. This is the bit where I thought you're a bit of an idiot, but actually he's not an idiot, because he says, I don't have competition because we're all a team. We all want the same thing. I kind of get what he's saying, but mate, you've got competition. João Pedro's there. Liam Delap is there. Pedro Neto is there. They're all waiting. Christopher Nkunku is there. So, yeah, you might not think you've got competition, but that you have. You've got the biggest competition, mate. You've got competition. So that worries me a little bit. That worries me a little bit in terms of what he thinks he's there to do. And I agree with that comment there from CFC Gamer. I don't think his ego or his mentality would allow him to be third choice at Chelsea, especially when he's been the guy at Chelsea. He's been the main guy at Chelsea almost for 2 seasons now. I don't think his ego would allow him to suddenly not be the first choice at Chelsea. If he's smart, he would become the third choice. He would be smart, because there's no guarantee that João Pedro and Liam Delap are going to hit that ground running and score the goals. We've just seen James Maddison look like he's done his ACL. We know that players do that all the time, especially in this day and age of football. So we might need him. So and I'll be honest, if he goes to Newcastle, if he thought us fans were bad, you wait till you see the Geordies. They'll tear him apart. Yeah, Theo's made a good point here in the chat as well. We've had 3 strikers on rotation in the past: Torres, Eto'o, and Bar. What a combination that was. Costa, Drogba, and Remy. Another really good combination: Costa, Remy, and Falcao. I always forget we had Falcao on the books. I always forget that one. But no, you're right. We've had rotations before. And during those periods, they were actually successful for us. It's not like there was... The only thing I would say to that is that I think that was a different era and it kind of worked for us. And whereas now I think just the era is different. The football is different. And I think it comes down to Maresca, because he has to manage not just our strikers, but he has to manage the team now. This team is so big. Not so big, that's the wrong words, but the players that you've brought in they don't want to be sat on the bench. Keenan Dewsbury Hall was brought in, and I'm pretty sure the conversation would have included, you're going to be playing X amount of games this season. You're for the Conference League. I don't think he would have been brought in and thought, actually, I'm going to be starting every single game. If you bring in Xavi Simons, he thinks he's starting every game. Garnacho thinks he starts every game. João Pedro thinks he starts every game. Liam Delap will want to start every single game. So when he says he hasn't got competition, that's why I think it might, in my opinion, I would have maybe kept Mark Gui and sent maybe Jackson on a loan. Maybe that would have been the better solution. But as I said, this club likes to sell players when they can, if they hear someone's wallet jingling, they'll push a player in front of that club. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does end up leaving. Before we wrap up, we have got one last piece of news, because this was not what I wanted to see from my central defender who's been out for so long. This is not what I wanted to see. Let's get the page up. Because for a central defender that's cost us a lot of money, this is not what I wanted to see. Now, this was reported by Simon Phillips, I think, originally, and I think others have caught onto it as well. But this is Wesley Fofana. Now, people probably say, "What's the problem here? Why are you even talking about this?" But I'm gonna tell you why I'm talking about it. For a player who we signed and hasn't actually gave us anything really to shout about in terms of his performances, and he put something else like this out before. Footballers need to understand that as fans, we're going to have opinions all the time about good things, about bad things. When you're not playing well, when you are playing well, when you've had a bad game, when you've had a really good game, and all the rest of it. If I was a footballer and I couldn't handle the heat in the kitchen, I just wouldn't have social media. And if I had to have social media because it was just an obligation as part of a contractual sponsorship thing, I just would let someone else handle it. But it seems like every time we talk about Wesley Fofana, we see stupid shit like this that comes out. This is on his Instagram post, and the caption reads, "They like to talk too much," with a yawn emoji. This is a guy that's been out for nearly enough 2 seasons and hasn't helped us win any Club World Cups or any conference leagues, and didn't help us get top 4 last season. Just let your football do the talking. Because what this does, it gives certain Chelsea fans ammunition to carry on talking about you. Just let your football do the talking. Your feet are so fresh on the grass. They've only just started touching the grass again. That's how long you've been out injured. It's things like that. I think I kind of get it, because, it can't be easy. If a lot of people are talking about you, they're saying that you should be back. He's out injured. It's not like he's pulling out stinkers every game. He can't help getting injured, but just let your football do the talking, because it gives Chelsea fans ammunition to go after you when you don't play well. If he has a stinker, if he starts against Crystal Palace, the fans are going to come out on top of you. Just let your football do the talking. This isn't the first time we've seen this from Wesley Fofana. And let's be honest, I think his days could be numbered at Chelsea. This is a massive, massive, massive season. It's a massive season for him. Because if he doesn't play well, or he doesn't put in the numbers, or if he's making error after error in the back line, I just told you, when the owners hear wallets jangling, they'll try and push a player in front of the club, and he could be one of them. Because let's be honest, Tosin for me is ahead of him now, in my opinion. He's shown a lot more in the last 6 months, albeit that he was injured, but he's shown that he's got qualities Tosin in him. I prefer him over Wesley Fofana. Trevor Chalobah, I'll be devastated if we let Trevor Chalobah leave and be stuck with Wesley Fofana, who I don't think really understands what it means to play for a club like Chelsea. I don't. And I don't even mean that in a disrespectful way to him. I don't think he understands the mentality of our club. I don't think he understands it. So he just needs to stop doing all that talking on the socials. Just let your football do the talking. And if you play well, you play well. And if you don't, you don't. But I guarantee you the Chelsea fans are going to be on your back if they keep seeing you saying that we keep talking because you haven't put in a shift. We can't remember the last decent performance from Wesley Fofana. So that's why, I think that's why fans are on top of Wesley Fofana, because he's just not putting in the shift. And Trevor Chalobah for me is ahead of him. Colwell, TBC, but I think if he has a very good season ahead of him, I'm going to say on every live stream I do, I still think we go out, and I don't think we're finished in the window. I still think we will bring in a big signing. I don't know who it is. I'm going to look stupid in a couple of weeks when the window shuts and all we've signed is the players that we've signed. But I guarantee that the club will want to bring in, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's another centre half, a centre back. I think they will bring someone in. Who, I don't know, but I think they will bring someone in because I don't think you can go into the season if you do get rid of Badiashile and Dizazi. It's very likely Trevor Chalobah will leave because it's pure profit and the club needs to balance the books out and earn the money and all the rest of it. So that leaves you with Tosin, Fofana. Joao Heto can play left centre back, but predominantly he's been brought in to be understudy to Cucurella. So it does make you wonder, do they go in for another one? Mark Guehi is a big one, but again, from what I think I read, I think it's Newcastle. I think Newcastle are in for him. I think he ends up at Liverpool. I think Newcastle's transfer window has been horrendous. If you had to score it out of a 10, you're giving it a -2 because it's been that bad for Newcastle. And I think every player that Newcastle have tried to get, someone's hijacked the deal. So I think they're going in for Guehi, but I think he ends up at Liverpool because they need a centre back as well. I wouldn't be against Guehi coming back because I think he's just what we need. We need someone who's a bit more calm, experienced as well. I think Guehi ticks a lot of the boxes that we need him to tick, but I just think he might end up at Liverpool. I think you can't really compete with Liverpool at the moment in terms of the transfers that they've done, the vision, the project, just off the back of winning the Premier League. I think anyone would be silly to turn that down for us. That's just my opinion. But Chalobah not leaving, Coco Serva, I think he might. I think the fact that the club have been trying to force him out for the best part of 2 years, he wasn't on the last pre-season, not the one that's just gone, the one before that. He was told not to train at Cobham beginning of last season. We then loaned him out to Crystal Palace. We then went back on our knees to get him back from Crystal Palace. He put in a shift after shift after shift after shift. And there's still talk now of him being sold on. And this is Trevor Chalobah that never puts a foot wrong, puts in decent performances, didn't mention anything about the craziness that was happening when he was told not to turn up and train with the men's team, the senior team at Cobham. He just got on with his job. Same with Ben Chilwell. So I think he will leave because the club knows that they need to balance out the books. They need to offload players. And I think him, Chilwell, they will be. They will be sold. They will be sold, unfortunately. But if you haven't already, please, as always, make sure you smash the subscribe button because we're trying to get to the road to 1,500 subscribers. So I know people have been in the chat. They've been enjoying the conversation. I appreciate that. As I said, we're going to be doing a lot more live streams. The podcast will be back returning as always. So make sure you like this video, notification bell on. Linktree link is in the description. Instagram, Twitter, all of that good stuff. We'll be back soon. Enjoy the rest of your evening and we'll be back tomorrow with another live stream. So make sure you tune in for that one.